Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Plurk, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 11th of November, 2013. This is episode 52, Seeing Blue. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. Podiversary is next week, so the drawings will happen next week. If you haven't had a chance, please go over to the Podiversary chatter thread and just go say something. All the rules are there. I'm still really enjoying what people are posting. It's been, less since the first week the thread was up, but there's still been a few new posts. I have a list of things that I've taken that I hope to be pulling from over the next while from suggestions from people in that thread. Sweater knit along is going along pretty strong. The rules are 1 entry per person. However, you can make as many sweaters as you want. Just put them all in the same post. Go ahead and edit your post that you put in, or just put your finished sweaters in the additional finished sweaters in the chatter thread, whichever works for you better. It's just 1 entry per person. And those are sweaters finished between November 1st and December 31st. Any size, any pattern. It can be a UFO, a whip, new project. It's all good. And the tag for that is BPH sweater. I'm going to talk about my sweater now instead of in works in progress because I am in love with it. I'm doing the Tap Z by Amy King. It's a free pattern on Knitty, and I will probably have this done next week. I'm into the stockinette zombie part of it. There are some diamond motifs on the bottom that I probably won't do, but I'm thinking that I might do an eyelet detail down around the bottom. There's no shaping or anything from this point on, so it's just stockinette forever. Okay, so here's my camera's not pointed down far enough, and my cables are too short to stretch it out. So here's where it will close. It calls for 3 buttons, and I'm going to just show you the back so that you can see the diamond motifs. There's 2 rows of that. There are eyelet rows. The other thing is that it has these cap sleeves. These are bound off. I don't have to go back and pick up anything for the sleeves. So it's just going to be a really nice layering piece for over black t-shirts is what I'm going to use it for. This yarn is super nice. It's from 716 Knit, and it is 716 Boss in the colorway Dead Guys on Ice, and apparently I'm shedding because there's a hair on it. Sorry about that. Let's see if you can see the colors better this week. I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think you can see the pops of rusty red over here coming through. I'm alternating the skeins, and I'm almost through the first half of my yarn, which is 2 skeins, which is fine because I have more than enough yarn to get through the rest of the sweater. I did the math last night to make sure. And the way that I did it was I wound when I was caking, I caked up 1 ball. This is not the same yarn. But I caked up 1 ball, and then I used a slip knot. I tied a slip knot in both strands just to anchor it, and wound the second ball around it so that I could treat it like 1 ball instead of having to deal with 2 balls, because I'm very good at knitting from the inside and outside of a single cake of yarn. And I am fine with 2 cakes of yarn as well. I would just prefer to only have to juggle with 1. This is what I have left of the first half. I am I am pretty sure that I'm more than half done with this sweater. So hopefully next week this will be done and you will be able to see it in all of its magnificence. Love this yarn. It's really squishy. It's working up really nice. It's kind of my first real experience with DK weight yarn. I made the cowl, the green cowl, using DK weight yarn, but this is my first real project with it, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I highly recommend Jenna's yarn if you are looking for an indie dyer to make a sweater with, or, you know, anything else. Love her colors, love her stuff. Go check it out. Links in the show notes as always. Let's talk about what I finished this week. I finished 4 things, which is good. Keeping up that productivity. I'm waiting for the crash and burn. Sometime in the next couple weeks, I'm just not going to have any finished objects. I know it. The first one is large, and I don't have it with me because it has been taken by my child. The girl child, not the boy child. I'm sure he has played his part in having it too, though. It's the Miter Square Lapgan out of Lion Brand Homespun and other comparable yarns like Karen Simply Soft Bulky. In a lot of colors, not all of the yarn had ball bands. I was gifted all of the yarn from my sister, my boyfriend's aunt, and my boyfriend's sister. So some things didn't have ball bands. Made that on US 10, which is 6.0 millimeter needles. And it is done. It is very warm. It's very squishy. It wasn't my favorite project ever to make, but I really like how it turned out. The Lion Brand Homespun, I really like the look of it. I don't love working with it. But it's done now. Second finished object. This is not in order of how I finished them, just in order of how I'm picking them up. Cabled gloves. Okay, so last week I was telling you I wasn't sure if it was gloves or glovelets. It depends on where you look. On Ravelry, it's glovelets. On the pattern itself, it says gloves. So, links in the show notes, but go with glovelets when you're looking on Ravelry. And that is written by Meg White. Yeah, these cables running up the center, which I always have a hard time centering if I'm not looking at them directly. Yeah, it's just, okay, so they're supposed to go straight up and down and not curve. They don't curve. It's just how my arm is twisting to show you. There we go. That was not, it didn't need to be that tricky. I used Karen Simply Soft in the color Dark Sage and US size 7, which is 4.5 millimeter needles. I did these magic loop 2 at a time so that I wouldn't have to fuss with anything. There is a thumb gusset, but there is no thumb, so you don't pick up or anything for the thumb. I did the recommended pickup, but I think if I were to do it again, or the recommended cast on, I would use a stretchier cast on. I don't remember what I used. I think I just did the like the half hitch type cast on because I wasn't thinking about it, but I think I would go with is it Turkish or tubular? I don't remember. Where you pick up in between. It's like a knitted cast on, but you pick up in between the loops. I would do that if I made these again. But they definitely have stretch to them because look at how skinny they look and look at how much they have to stretch. And they stretch fine. They fit fine. They fit over my hand, which is large for a woman. Comparable to most of the guys I know, except for the people who are like 6'5". Their hands are bigger than mine. Overall, good pattern. Pretty, I wouldn't say this would be the best beginner pattern. There is a little bit of intuition involved, but it's pretty well written. This morning I finished the dog sweater. Oh, someone spilled something on it. Children and their touching of things. So this is the last dog sweater that I was making, and I love this color. I want to make a sweater for myself. What do you think? Or, you know, someone else. But I think that this yarn deserves to be a real sweater. It is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Superwash in the colorway Garnet Heather. I worked it on US size 4, 3.5 millimeters for the ribbing, and then the cables were worked in US 8, 5.0 millimeter. On the first sweater that I did, I used a size 7, but I found that my gauge was tighter on this sweater. I've made this sweater twice. It's Drops 102-43 by Drops Designs. So my gauge was tighter on this sweater. I'm not sure why, it just was. So I went up a needle size. Turned out fine. I haven't even photographed it yet. I bound off right before I started recording. I haven't woven in ends or anything. So the sweater needs to be finished and washed because, you know, there's a little bit of something on there. I blame Mara. She's usually the culprit. But you know what this means? I'm done with the sweaters for the dog, which is so exciting because I'm tired of knitting dog sweaters. I know I can knit socks forever and ever, but dog sweaters, just no. The first thing that I finished this week actually was this Royal Iris that I made for my friend Becca. And the pattern is by Meltrine Designs. There's the detail. I used Science Monkey Mercantile Faraday sock in the colorway Texecuted. Love that. It's red and white and black. I used US size 1 for the turned hem, which is 2.25 millimeters, and US size 3, which is 3.25 millimeter needles for the patterned part. And I will get that out in the mail. I meant to get it out in the mail earlier in the week, but I didn't, so you got to see it in person instead of in a picture. Finished all of that, and I started lots of things. Oh, I did kind of finish something else. This is the first Nebula sock by Cookie A. And the sides look different because there's a traveling pattern. This is for me. It looks kind of small. I feel that it looks kind of small, but this yarn is super stretchy. It is Tessa's Designer Yarns. I told you last week that I knew I had seen the tag somewhere. It was in my desk drawer. So Tessa's Designer Yarns. No colorway name. Worked on a US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. I made some changes to the pattern that I will be sure to do on the second sock too. Last week I was in the gusset, or maybe I just finished the gusset, I don't remember. So I worked the foot. As you can see, this toe is really, really square. I have a really, really wide toe. This toe is also supposed to be 2 inches long, and mine is about an inch, which is fine. It fits fine. But I just squared off the toe. I worked the foot pattern a little bit longer and then squared off the toe. I've not cast on the second sock yet, but I'm going to this week so that it can get worked on, hopefully. I do want these socks done by the end of the year. They're on my list of things to do to finish. So these will get cast on. The second one will get cast on later this week. All of the other things are new. This right here, I know it looks really fancy dancy, right? It's going to be a pair of fingerless mitts. The pattern that I'm using is called It's Share Time by Jenna Meyer. The yarn I am using is Baby Penguin Fibers. The colorway The Dwarf King. It's from her line from The Lord of the Rings, or is it The Hobbit? I can't remember. It's from J.R.R. Tolkien. So it's blues and browns and a naturally cream color. It's 100% BFL. I'm making these for Steve. Conveniently, his hands and my hands are the same size, so I can just test them against mine. And these are his Christmas present. I'm working these on a US size 2.75 millimeter needles, and next week they should look much more impressive. I started spinning the alpaca Corriedale from Jenna. I'm using my CD drop spindle, very fancy dancy. And it's spinning up super thin. Everything that I'm spinning right now wants to be thin. This is the thickest of the thin. That is a Korea alpaca and Corriedale blend that Jenna sent me, and I'm looking forward to spin that. I cast on a pair of socks for Steve as well. Aren't they impressive? Can't you tell what they are? No? Zipper Lexicon by Kirsten Hall. I'm working them on a US size 1 2.25 millimeter needle, and when I made these the first time, I believe that I said that the next time I made them, I was going to attempt to do the toe first and then work up from the toe. Because the way that you do it is you do the foot and then the heel and then the leg, and then you work from the outside of the ball, do the toe, and then you do the cuff. Well, I want to do them two at a time because Steve has big feet and I want to maximize the yarn. So I decided that I would do a provisional cast on for the toe, do the toe first, and then I could just work all the way up. Foot, heel, leg, cuff, and be done with it. I cast on with both needles held together, and I am leaving the blue cable needles to hold the stitches. And I'm using the red cable. The blue are Hiya Sharp and the red are Shigu. And I'm using the red ones to knit the toe. And that's how I like to provisionally cast on so that I don't have to pick up stitches later, especially these because they're 80 stitches per sock. I don't want to pick up 80 stitches per sock if I don't have to. The yarn that I'm using for this is Nooch Fiber, Morningside Sock, which is 100% superwash merino, in the colorway Cloud 9. Steve picked out this color last year. Right about this time, there was a sale at Nooch Fiber for Black Friday, and he picked out this. The orange in this is not so horribly orange because of the other colors, the purple and the green. So it doesn't hurt my soul to work on this. This will look more impressive next week. Just cast it on because, I finished some things. Started another spinning project. I now have 3 going. This is a ball of wool that I got at the wool gathering in Youngstown, Yellow Springs, Ohio. I can't remember. A wool gathering. It's in the show notes from a couple weeks ago, or a month ago when I went, however long ago that was. So this was yarn that I bought because it was $1 for 30 grams. I was like, sure, I'll try it. It's alpaca and lamb, which was something I hadn't bought before. I bought 3 balls of this, one which I already spun. It was pink and green. And I have plans for this. I'm going to spin this ball of fiber and this ball of fiber, which are from the same place, and this other ball of fiber. And then I am going to ply the 3 of them together. And it should be about a fingering weight. I just think that the colors look cool together, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I am eager to see. This is in my Jessalou bag that I traded for. It's the Starry Night and TARDIS. I really, I don't know about Doctor Who because I haven't watched it, but I will eventually. So I just really like that it holds my fiber really well while I'm spinning. And this is a good place to segue into some new things. I received a fantastic package from a viewer. Thank you, Jerry. She decided, if you recall, I did the hand-spun sock knit along. And I didn't offer prizes for it, but 2 viewers did. One was Jerry, she offered a bag, and the other was Jenna. I'll talk about Jenna first because I actually won the prize from Jenna. I did a drawing, it was in the thread, and what I won was silk hankies. This is 7/8 of an ounce. It's called Jewel Tones. It's 100% silk, and 716 knit, the dyer behind that, she dyed these. Oh, they're so pretty. I'm not taking them out because my hands are a little bit rough and dry, and your hands need to be very smooth for silk. And this is Rainbow, which is 1/4 of an ounce. Look at how bright that is. Oh, I love that. So there will be silk in my future. Probably not really near future, but yes, silk is going to happen. So I won that. And then Jerry decided that she would make a bag for everybody who finished. There were 4 of us. And this is the bag that I got. It's got little fish on it. Isn't that perfect? She said that she couldn't find anything that had bunnies and fish on it, but I think this is great. And it is holding my hippie penguin fiber carnival bears superwash BFL that I'm going to be spinning for the next ever on my Turkish spindle. This bag is so perfect because I was thinking that day that I really wanted a knot bag for spinning, which this is. It's got the silky fiber on the interior. It's a knot bag. And I thought that that would be perfect to hold my spinning fiber so I wouldn't have to break the fiber to use with my wrist distaff that I have. And I was like, well, I guess I should make myself one because I have fabric. Fine. And then I went to my mailbox and there was a package. And I was like, that is not a return address that I know for sure, although I have my suspicions. And I opened it and this bag was inside. And I was like, okay, I know Jerry said she was making bags. So she made one for me. And not only did she make me a bag, she also put in mini skeins for my blanket, which I am so sad that I'm not working on right this minute. But I have plans to get back to it. If I can finish 3 projects this week, I will use the extra time that the leftover time to work on my sock yarn blanket. I only have 4 skeins left from Haley yarn, and then I'm breaking into the yarn from Jerry. I know I said I was going to do 716, but you know what? It's my blanket, and I will do what I want. And I want to use this yarn. There are some brands that I haven't used before, Regia and Fearless Fibers, and then some that I have used before. But I'm so looking forward to adding these to my sock yarn blanket. So Jerry, thank you so much. I can't adequately express how much I love this right here. This is the first time that I've gotten something from someone because they like my podcast. I am not soliciting. I don't want it to sound like I'm like, you should send me stuff because you like my podcast. No, definitely not. I'm not saying do that. But at the ZK, I had my first experience of someone coming up and saying, hi, I'm so-and-so. I watch your podcast. Don't worry. I didn't forget who you are. I just didn't want to mention your name just in case you didn't want me to. But it was the first time that someone had come up to me, and this is the first time that someone has sent something to the podcast because they like the podcast. I am floored that anyone would do that, and I am so appreciative, and it's so perfect. It's literally that day I was thinking how much I wanted a bag just like this, and then this bag arrived. So thank you so much, Jerry. Fantastic new things, and I really have the spinning bug right now. I really want to spin all the things, which is why I have 3 projects going. Speaking of, I am going to start a thread in the group probably today. I miss Tour de Fleece. I miss posting pictures every day or every couple days about what I'm spinning, how that's going, making posts. So I want a thread that is in that same vein where you post pictures of your spinning every day or when you feel like it or when you do something. And I was talking to Jenna last night in the VKN, and she said that it would be cool to have like a open spinner's diary, which I have never done. I've never kept one, but she just started one and she says she's really enjoying the practice of it. So I encourage everybody to go ahead and put your spinning in that thread. Either, just post a picture of what you're spinning on and don't say anything about it. Or if you want to take it to that place where it's kind of like a spinning journal, you can say what the fiber is, where you got it, how you're spinning it, what tools you're using, what techniques you're using, how long you spun on it that day, if you had to change anything from the last time you spun. I want to see what people are spinning, and I want to be able to post my spinning all the time. I don't feel like some spinning projects, I'm not going to show every week. Unless I make a lot of progress and you can really see it, especially on a drop spindle spinning singles that will be a lace weight or a fingering weight. There's not a lot of change from week to week visually, I don't feel. So I want to be able to share what I think is really cool about my spinning on a daily basis or, every other day. So I'm going to open that thread in the group today. I finished reading Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, The Complete Adventures, this week. I haven't talked about it in months. I've been reading this book since way before we moved. I just think that I am not cut out to sit and read classics anymore. I don't think I have the attention span. The thing about Peter Pan, The Complete Adventures, is that the first 3/4 of the book, Peter Pan is not a character. It's the development of the character. It's not bad. I still enjoyed the story, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. And then Peter Pan himself was just so different than what I thought that after reading a couple stories, I was like, I need to put this down and my brain needs to recalibrate to who Peter Pan is in this story versus Disney Peter Pan. It was good. It was just not what I expected when I downloaded it to my Kindle. I am still listening to A Feast for Crows, but that will be done today or tomorrow. I only have about 3 hours of listening left. And this book is a little bit different too. Versus the previous 3, this has a lot more random characterization. A lot more no-name characters are thrown in. I know that happened in the previous books. It just feels like it's happening a lot in this book. And I feel in previous books that was kept to like the prologue and the epilogue, whereas in the middle of the book, there have been these characters who were never named characters before, who are now having a bigger role. And I've talked to 2 people in the past 24 hours about reading this book, and they had a hard time reading the hard copy of it because it had things like that. something that I'm having a hard time with listening to it is the repetition. There have been probably 5 or 6 parts in this book where the same line is repeated every couple paragraphs. And it's just like, okay, I get it. There's a feast for crows. Crows are feasting. So that's kind of difficult for me, but I am enjoying the listening because my brain doesn't have to be entirely focused on the book. It can be focused on cleaning or knitting or spinning as well. I'm really enjoying the series still, so I'm definitely going to get the next book. My list this week is kind of silly. I have been really, really enjoying YouTube videos that have Disney fairy tale basis. So the first one is called Disney Dudes, and it is from Todrick Hall. And he did a collaboration with e052. It's a cover of Disney songs. Each of the 5 singers sing a Disney princess song. The second is After Ever After, and it is a parody. It's by Paint, that's the YouTube channel, and he wrote the songs based on what he thinks would happen after the fairy tale ended if the characters lived in our society today. Some people might find it a little bit offensive. I don't know that it is completely child appropriate, and it's probably not work safe. But I find it witty and enjoyable. And the last one is One Woman a cappella Disney Medley, Part 2 in particular. Part 1 is okay, but I enjoyed Part 2 much more. So I urge you to check out those videos if you enjoy a little bit of Disney goodness. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. I'm going to go work on my sweater some more while I'm editing, and I hope to see you next week. Bye!